Okay. It's go time. It is go time. So let me push the button. And there I am on the air. Look at that. Just like magic. I guess you saw from the title slide, I'm a little bit frustrated at the moment. So as advertised, we're going to do a little bit of a rant. Or grumble, or gripe, or groan. And then I don't otherwise have much of a plan. I'm just going to noodle around on the keyboards for a while till I get tired. And we'll chat. You know, I got the chat up. My buddy Brad Nelson is in the chat tonight. He is, I believe, coming to us from Iceland. I think he's still on world tour or something along those lines. And of course, anybody else who feels like stopping in, come on in, chat, hit me up. We'll talk about stuff, or you'll type and I'll talk. So let's get to the meat of my gripe. One of the things that had kind of frustrated me. We'll be back in Iceland Tuesday. Well, where are you now? Are you back here in the States, Brad, or are you somewhere else gallivanting around the globe? Jumpstar, help! Welcome! Thanks for joining. Coming in from the UK. It is late-ish for you there, isn't it? It's heading towards 1 in the morning, I think, if I have the time zone math correct. I'm not very good at time zone math all the time. So, anyway, Donna knows where I am. Okay, now that's... I'm not gonna... I know where Donna is, so you're not here. So, anyway, yeah, 1 a.m., that's right. So, excuse you if you fall asleep. That's okay. I'm going to get the noisy stuff... Hey, I've been busy today, Brad. It's been a busy day, so I haven't been on Facebook much at all today. Just early this morning and pretty much none Saturday and Sunday. So, anyway, the title slide kind of showed it. I mean, here, we'll put it back up. There it is. I'm frustrated, and I'm wondering what the heck Ableton has done. Because... So I brought this back up. So I have over here to my right, out of camera shot. I have a Native Instruments Control S49, wonderful keyboard controller. Does great things with Native Instruments software, and does some okay things with Ableton Live, but it's not complete. And I bought it knowing that it wasn't complete. I mean, that's kind of the thing. But one of the things that's not complete is the ability to set up your own custom definitions of what you want the controls on the keyboard to do. Okay, fine. I can live with that for the moment. But I wanted to be able to do some decent control of Arturia's Analog Lab software. So I was looking for a controller that would let me do that, and I figured what better than the Arturia analog or key lab controller. You know, I grabbed one of those. There it is. I got the 49 key model. It's a very nice controller. Works really well at controlling Analog Lab. So from that standpoint, it's an absolute success. The problem comes in, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to really demonstrate this entirely well for you, that it works well, but it works well in Ableton Live 11. Works beautifully, does exactly what you expect it to do. But in, in Analog Lab, or under Ableton Live 12, it doesn't do quite as well as we would hope. And I'll show you. Let me bring the computer up on the screen, and let's see, that's camera 4. So here we're looking at a patch in Analog Lab, and I want you to look at the far left control. It's labeled brightness. It's down in the lower left, and I can move a mouse pointer over here so you can see where we're talking. This brightness control. And right now you can see that it's turned all the way down. So in theory, we have these, let me see if I can set something up here. So I can do this like neat inset picture-in-picture thing here. If we do that and do that, that'll almost work, because that's not what I want. I want cam 2 in there, and then we will put that on air. So there, up in the upper right you can see the keyboard, and in the lower left you can see the control that I'm talking about. So we've got this row of knobs here across the top. These knobs, these 9 knobs, correspond to the 9 controls here. And then the 9 faders here, when I'm in Analog Lab mode, correspond to these 9 faders. So these are endless encoders. And in theory, an endless encoder will pick up wherever you are and just smoothly move the control. There's no jump when it's done correctly. And so, well, I'll show you. I'll show you what happens. And there's a chance that it won't happen this time, but because I don't know where the position of this control is. But if I grab a hold of this control and turn, watch this brightness, boom, it jumps. So it's supposed to be a smooth move, and this works correctly in previous versions of Ableton Live. It works correctly in Reaper. It works correctly in Traction, of all things. You know, the whoever makes that thing. And so, you know, here I am, and I've got this wonderful new controller, and Ableton has screwed the pooch and basically broken the thing. If I were to go outside of Ableton Live and run this thing, yeah, okay, we'll get to that, Brad. So the gist is that this should just work. It just worked for years, and so hence my frustration. Because I mean, this worked in Ableton Live 9, it worked in Ableton Live 10, it worked in but not in or in 11. Works beautifully, but not in 12. And you know, I can't be the only person who has discovered this. Since Ableton Live 12 came out, there have been 5 revisions. I'm on the very latest software, no fix. So I've put in obviously I've put in comments to tech support and to development and said, hey guys, come on, what did you break? But you know, I'm to the end of almost to the end of the period where I could send the QLab back. I don't think I'm going to, because I think this will get fixed. But this is just the kind of thing, you've got a bazillion of these things out in the market, and you would think that that the folks at Ableton would have tested a popular keyboard with a popular piece of software inside of their piece of software. And it's just like, these are the kind of things, when you're paying for premium products, these are the kind of things that when they don't work, it just, I'll say it chaps my ass. And so there we go. That's the rant part of the evening. Now, Brad, you bring up about Python, a Python front end or something like that. And so the deal is, there's a standards base for plugins that plug into things like Ableton Live or Cubase or any of the other major DAWs, called VST. And this is a VST, the Analog Lab software is a VST plugin. So there's standards with the way that software is supposed to talk to plugins. Ableton broke something here. They didn't do something right. Now, asking about option in the settings that defines the control, if it's direct cache and all that kind of stuff. They have that for the faders. They don't have that for the encoders. Now there's a file that you can go in and edit, and there's 12 or 14 different choices. I've tried all of them. If there's a choice, I tried it. No change to the action in the no change to the knobs through here. Nothing at all. No change whatsoever. No matter what mode I put it in. And the deal is, Analog Lab is not the only software that's broken by this. So one thing that the Keylab does have is the ability to go into a user mode that actually works, and you can actually program all the buttons and knobs to do whatever you want them to do. It breaks that as well. So they've completely munged up the way they either the way they talk to VSTs or the way they talk to controllers. I'm not sure which. And so it's a it's a thing, and I thought, well, maybe there's some tension between the settings in the Keylab setup software and Ableton. So I made sure they were all matched up, looking at the same things for what you can adjust. And so it should work. And in fact, when I can't do this now. If I were to do this now, all our sound would go away and nothing would be working. When I reloaded Ableton Live 11 on this computer, set up exactly the same setup, no change whatsoever, exactly the same setup, and it works perfectly in Ableton Live 11. Absolutely perfectly. So, we have to look at what changed. And the thing that changed in the grand scheme of things, not necessarily in my particular order of things, but in the grand scheme of things, the thing that changed is Ableton Live. Nobody else made any changes to anything that already worked. So, anyway, that's my frustration. That's the rant. I'm gonna mute my mic. Then and I just that little thing of muting the mic and going in and out of the control of what I'm controlling, that works flawlessly. It's not quite as smooth as the native instruments, but smooth enough that I can jump back and forth. If I want to go, if I want to jump from DAW mode to Analog Lab control mode to user mode, it's just the press of a button. And so, right now I'm on the DAW. It says I'm the mic 1 channel. And I can, then I can unmute it. That works perfectly. I can pop in and out of record modes and all those things that I can do. If it says it on the front panel, I can do it. And that was also one thing that I could not do yet with the Native Instruments controller. That is a bit of another rant that I did the other night. They had promised all this stuff to be done some time ago. And it's been radio silence out of them for, at least 3 months, maybe more. So, but other than those shortcomings, I really do like both of these controllers. They're good to play, and they do the things that they say they're going to do mostly. So anyway, that's the rant, and I'm done with that for the night. The fun thing I want to do now is I want to just maybe hear some noise going on. Let's take that off the screen. The sounds you're hearing in the background are coming from from my usual standbys. They're coming from the it's dark over there. I apologize. I still haven't finished getting the lighting put back together, but they're coming from my old standbys, the PolyBrute and the Take 5. My wonderful analog portion of the world, and wouldn't leave home without them. And so And yeah, Jump, I think it's going to get sorted. It's just a matter of time, I think. I hope it gets sorted. It's going to be there'll be a truly grumpy individual if they never fix it. That said, I will probably still consider. I most likely will still slog along in Ableton Live, because there's enough stuff going on in Live 12 that I'm not going back to 11, that's for sure. And I don't really feel like learning another DAW at this point. I'm so much more productive in Ableton Live than I've ever been in any other DAW in the entire amount of time that I've been using music systems, and that's been a long time. So, I really, after some initial, wondering how the heck the silly thing works, I'm really finally gelling with it. So, it will be a thing. It is a thing, and so. With that said, let's see. Is there anything else to talk about? I don't think so. I did release another new song on over on Bandcamp. I think Jumpster. I think you heard it. I think you heard it last night, I believe. And if not, you may have heard it in one of the other Discords where I shared it. But it's you can get to it through the website at GerenM.net or over on the Bandcamp. And quickie for the link for the website. We've got that. So go check it out. It's an interesting. Well, I'll talk about it for a second. It's called 23rd Winter Number 14, and the idea is that back in thank you. Yeah, Kumite was great last night. Really fun last night. Probably one of the funnest. The idea back in 2023, I did the January thing, and I did 31 live jams, or 31 jams that I recorded and featured every day throughout the month. I think I took one day off, and then I also did a half hour behind the scenes, how I do my production, or how I do live jam production. So. Okay, so the problem with going over the track is that I can't load it up without killing the ability to talk over it the way I'm set up. So maybe next week. I'll tell you what. Next week, that'll be the show for next week. Next Monday night, we'll do somewhat of a deconstruction of the track itself. But the thing was, back in 2023 in January. I did all these things, and the idea was that I would come back to them later and finish them. And I'm finally getting around to that. But the deal is that I played the one from January 14, 2023, and it turns out that that's what kind of inspired the new song, because it's a completely new track. And so what I think I'm going to end up doing is releasing all of the, or some, maybe about a dozen of the 2023 tracks as they are as an album. And then I will go back and do new versions of those 12 or something like that. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking right now. So that gives me, another several weeks worth of work to do and music to create, which is really great and really fun. So I think that's the plan. We'll see how it actually transpires with the rest of my life going on, but because as we all know, life is what happens. Life is what happens when we're busy making other plans. So anyway, that's the plan for now. For tonight, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do some jamming over that noise in the background. Yeah, so yeah, I get a fresh new album in the end, and what that's gonna end up with is that by the time it's all done, I'll have the Kumite releases, which I will put into an album. I've got I'll have the 2023 releases as an album, and then I'll have the new versions of Winter 23 as an album, and that'll give me 3 albums, probably by fall. And certainly by year end, which is finally puts me on my quote unquote schedule that I had set for myself some time ago. So that's pretty good, and it's got me kind of jazzed, and which is good because I was, as you may know, as Jumpstar knows, during this Kumite thing, I took a week off to kind of get my head back centered. I was drifting from what it is that I tend to do, and so now we're back. So anyway, that's going to do that for chattering. Let me stop running my mouth. Let me make some music. I'll keep an eye on the chat, and we'll talk about stuff as it comes up. But I'm going to go ahead and play for a few minutes, and then we'll come back. Hey Joe, welcome. Thanks for coming. Well, that was not the expected result. Okay. I was just supposed to start laying in some drums. What did I do? Keylab. Yeah, that wasn't supposed to do that. All right, well, let's stop and set this up again. Chaos is right. I made a beautiful oops. All right, well, then we'll turn the oops back on. Now, let's get this back the way it's supposed to be. Why did that just do that? because that was only supposed to affect the one thing. Let me see here. All right, I'll put up on the screen so you can see what I'm fighting through here. What the heck? The joys of live television-ish. All right, so there's the Ableton Live project. I hit the kick on there. See, that was supposed to get input from Keylab, and that was supposed to get input for Complete Control, so it wasn't supposed to start that. All right, let's get this guy going again if we can. Okay, so there are the drums. They're doing what they're supposed to do. Okay, let's see if I can get the PolyBrute back under control. You get to see the confused looks. Let's see if we can get the PolyBrute back going again. Okay, let's back the... we'll back the delay off so we know what's going on. Alright, well that seems to be roughly in sync with the rhythm track. So what this is doing, I've got a synced random LFO hitting the master filter. Now we'll see if we can get the actual drone going again on the take 5. I don't know what it says it's playing something here, and I don't know what or why. So let's kill hold, and we'll turn it back on and see what we get. So it's getting MIDI from somewhere, and I don't know where. Interesting. Let's see, it's supposed to be getting its control from this keyboard. Let's tell it to get its MIDI input from nowhere. So it's getting no MIDI input. Okay, I seem to have it under control again. There we go. And let's do this. Let's go in and I'm going to go back up through the LFOs. We're going to take that out. still getting some weirdness going on, but I think we'll live with it. I do want some movement in that filter though. So we're going to take LFO1 and we're going to put it into the filter. Cut off a little bit. Slow it way down. No idea what's playing the Take 5. It's not me. It's making some interesting noises now, though. Okay. Give it a little bit of reverb, because everything sounds better with reverb. That's more or less under control. Now you couldn't see what I was doing, but because I had the wrong camera up, but I was just getting the more interesting or usable drone out of the Take 5. Let's go down an octave and restart that. Joe, no, the internal sequencer was not running on the Take 5. That's why I'm so confused. And so, Joe, you also say, or I'm sorry, Joe, you say this never happens with audio loops. I laugh at you heartily. If you saw all the behind-the-scenes stuff from all of the behind-the-scenes stuff from my January 2023 stuff. Some of the live looping stuff that I was doing initially was really getting kind of ended up a little out of control. It was, I think Ben A and I were having a contest to see who could do the most and longest loops during that time, and so it got interesting real fast. Of course, now you're sort of, without saying it, you're daring me to open up the looper in Ableton Live and play with that. And Joe, the drums are just it's just a clip out of Ableton Live's library. I am not a drummer by any stretch of the imagination. take 5 out of control again. What on earth is playing now? Like something's playing the take 5 again. On its own. And that internal sequencer and hold are both turned off. Right now, it and the take 5 and the drums are the only thing playing. Oh, I see what's going on. I get it. There. That's back under control. Yay. All right, let's bring back the PolyBrute. There we go. I'm going to play with a different lead synth here for a while. Get rid of that. So this is a wonderful thing about the Analog Lab. There's about a million different things in here. But I recently got a new one for Analog Lab. And so let's see. Go into Instruments. And I'm going to grab in this MiniBrute. The MiniBrute was like the thing that started out the entire Brute series for Arturia. And I remember when it first came out, I went and played with one and thought it was the neatest thing and didn't buy it. And yeah, I wish I had, but I didn't. And since then they came out with the MicroBrute and the Matrix Brute, the PolyBrute, which I have, the MiniBrute 2 and the MiniBrute 2S. But just recently they came out with the MiniBrute software, and I think it sounds amazing. It's almost as much fun as the original was. Let's see if I can get it up on its interface up on the screen here, because I actually paid full boat for this one. So there we go. And let's turn that off there so now we can see more of it. Get a little more volume for that. Hey there, how you doing? Welcome. Thanks for coming, Mr. Mistakes. I am reasonably well. How are you this evening, sir? Going okay, that's good. At least it's not going backwards. Something here. Let's take this down and make it a mono synth. Well, that's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Alrighty then. Well, you know, I've been at this for about an hour tonight. I think I'm probably gonna call it quits. Thank you for coming, Joe, and Jumpstar, and Make Mistakes, and Brad from wherever the heck in the world he is today. It was Iceland the other day, anyway. So, yep, think that's gonna do it. Next week, we will, I think that's a great idea. We will go ahead and do at least somewhat of a deconstruction of the last tune that I came up with. And we'll see how that goes. That should be an interesting thing. I've never done anything like that before. So that could be an interesting and different kind of evening. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, that's going to do it for me tonight. I'm going to go ahead and leave you with a little bit of playback from the new track that I just put out. It's called 23rd Winter Number 14. At least that's the plan. Just after I sign off, so I gotta catch him up real quick. Yes, Luke, I am still frustrated. However, yeah, you saw Keylab for a moment. It is still here. It is in use. Here, I'll let you. I'll even let you see it again. Give me a sec here. Push that button and that button. There it is. Yeah, right up there. There's the Keylab. And you know, it's really, as I said, top of the show. It's really a nice controller. I like the feel of it. I like the functionality of it when it's working. You know, it works if I've been playing around in Analog Lab or pretty much anything in a standalone mode. It works absolutely perfectly, does exactly what it is that it's designed to do. And excuse me. If I have it set up in Reaper and set up with Analog Lab and do the things. It works exactly the way it's supposed to work. I tried it in waveform, which is the new Traction DAW, or what they call what Traction calls their DAW now. Waveform. It works perfectly. I tried it in Ableton Live 11. It works perfectly. So everything is right on until I bring back up Ableton Live 12. And in Ableton Live 12 it screws up. I will tell you what, I'll pop let's do this. I'm not going to stop the music, the music that I'm doing now, but let's get this here, do some visuals here. Let me line up some visuals. Okay, so I'm going to do that and that. Okay, so Analog Lab is up. The synth that's loaded in Analog Lab is the new MiniBrute V VST. It is wonderful. My gosh, it sounds great. But the problem that I have with it in here is that when I'm in Analog Lab mode on the keyboard, these controls here along the bottom, the rotary ones in particular, or specifically, are controlled by these knobs up here. And if I have been, now these have all, they're all kind of lined up from where they were. So let's grab we'll grab a different preset in here. It makes no difference which one it is. I'm just going to grab another one. Okay. If I grab one of these knobs, let's say I start with the brightness knob, which is knob number 1 up here. And I know it's tiny in the inset, but there it is. So it's going to control the brightness control, which is a macro that controls who knows what all else. I don't know how this macro is set up in this preset. But if I grab this knob and turn it, it's of course going to work now. Now everything's going to, there you go, the time knob jumped. If you look at movement, I bet you if I turn it, it will jump. Yeah, it jumps. And these are these are rotary encoders. So they should be smooth. This should pick up wherever it is, but you can see almost everyone that I touch, if it didn't happen to already be in that absolute position, it jumps. And yes, Luke, I did absolutely file a bug report. I've not with Ableton. I've not gotten anything back yet. But this has been, that's my frustration. I'm nearing the end of the window in which I can return the keyboard. I don't think I'm going to return it because I do think that Ableton will get this squared away. I can't be the only person who's going to complain. If I am the only person who complains, I will be very surprised. But because I know there's got to be a zillion of these things out there. And I know, there's video after video after video on YouTube about how to make this work in Ableton Live. So obviously somebody wanted it. And but all of those videos are about Ableton Live 10 or 11. Where it works absolutely perfectly. What's really weird to me, I'll go ahead and set this up because, we're rambling on now. I went ahead and loaded Analog Live 11 on here because, what the heck, I have Analog Live 4 on here, Analog Lab 4. I'll learn to speak yet. It's been a long day. So if I bring Analog Lab 4 over here, drop that on the track, it'll think about it for a few moments, and we can bring that. Here we go. Here comes Analog Lab 4 and all its beauty. It should, let's see here, make sure my track is armed. It is. In theory, it should be playing, but it's not for the moment. I don't know why. Oh, I know why. I would have to Get to DAW mode, bring channel up. Yes, speaking is hard. So there we've got, nice growling mini Moog lead or bass lead sound. And if I grab this cutoff, so now this leftmost knob, let's do that. Now we've got this analog lab 4, which recognizes the Keylab Mark II as its preset. I mean, this comes right up, works. Got this great growling mini Moog. So again, this top row of controls here, rotary encoders here, controls this top row of knobs here. Here's what's weird. If I grab it here, go to analog lab mode. Open up, it's jumping now. Yay, okay, so that broke. Cool, that was working. Oddly enough, that was working correctly at one point. So this translates to anything. Once it's set, it behaves fine. And so the earlier discussion, Luke, there's are there settings for how encoders are interpreted in Ableton Live and in Analog Lab? The answer is yes, and they are set appropriately. In Ableton Live 12, I have to go into the user config file and change the encoder type there. In a text file, there's about a dozen different choices. I have tried all of them, and no difference from one to the next. There is a setting. Oh, I'm coming off on just one channel here. Let's come back where I belong. I think I grabbed that. There we go. Now I'm back in the middle. Yeah, that's because I screwed up. I grabbed that this first encoder when I'm in DAW mode is pan, you can cycle through what it does. It becomes pan, send A, send B, or when you're in the next mode, it actually goes through if you've got an Ableton. If you've got an Ableton instrument or effect or something loaded up in the tray, it'll cycle through. These knobs can then be cycled through whichever one of those is active. So I spun the knob before I switched over to Analog Lab mode. So it missed, or I missed. It's really nice the way this thing works, and it does, it does more than when it's working correctly. It does more than in some ways than the Native Instruments Control S does in its current form, and that's another rant. I mean, those guys really, they've got a number of annoyed folks because they have not delivered things that they said were ready to be delivered, and they've been radio silent for 3 to 6 months on it at this point. They're just not responding, which is really, really disappointing because the Control S is it's a fantastic keyboard. I mean, it really is a fantastic keyboard. It plays beautifully. When working with Native Instruments or NKS software, it generally works beautiful. Although I noticed the other day that if I'm using it to control something, let's grab something that's NKS compliant and put up on this track. Let's see, stand by here for a sec while I find some. Well, okay, here we go. I think this will work. Well, I know it will work if I do this. Let's put the computer back on the screen. And so if I grab from Native Instruments, drop this down and grab complete control, stick that on this track. And come on, there we go. So I can browse to something that is NKS compatible within there. So I'm making sure that everything's the way it should be. We'll grab out the augmented Yangtze because it's easy to see, and we'll just grab the first patch. While we're waiting for that, I can turn my mic back up manually, and we can watch the computer reboot eventually. Oh, the joys of modern technology. I can't hear myself at the moment, but at least I can turn the microphone up manually on the mixer. It's a little quieter while I'm doing this, but the computer is rebooting slowly, and here we go. Okay, let's see. You heard that, so let me get my login in there and relaunch Ableton Live. And okay, Live 12 is loading up. And yes, yeah, go ahead. Let's reload that. What the heck? This will either work or crash again. Oh my. Cacophony. Okay. Okay, my mic should be up now, though. Oh, this is really weird. Because it's... What on earth is it doing? All right. Yes, I'm the audio engine is up. Here comes the project. Okay, cool. We are back. Complete Control is with us this time. I'm not going to report this crash because this is something that I've reported before. It's done it before, not the first time. Okay, let's bring Complete Control up again. There we go. And let me go over here to this, which you cannot see. Oh, it's not seeing. Am I on the wrong track? Yes, I'm on the wrong track. Oh, that's interesting. The keyboard is telling me to use browser. Well, I'm trying to use the... Oh, here we go. Okay. La la la. And let's bring up, we'll use augmented strings, boom, and take that. And thinky. I think it's, okay, here we go. So now, let's get that out of the way. Open this up. Make double sure that's where I want it to be. It's not, so this is likely to crash again. Actually, let's see what this does, because this could be interesting. If I turn... Okay, so I have control of this now from the complete control keyboard, which you can't really see me doing because I don't really have a shot of that available. So if you notice, I'm turning the controls on the Control S, and they're not perfectly smooth. And I don't know if that's new or not. I don't know if I've noticed that before. I do know that they're very smooth outside of Ableton Live. I don't know if I noticed them being jerky in Ableton Live 11. I don't remember. And so that's something I'd have to load up an Ableton Live 11 project and do. So this is very interesting. I'm playing notes. I'm playing notes on the Control S keyboard. Nothing's coming because the MIDI is, interestingly, MIDI is set to get MIDI information from the Keylab, but I'm controlling it. Yet I'm controlling it with the controls with the S49. So I come over here to the Keylab and well, so as I said, Luke, I don't have a shot of the keyboard that I was working with, so that's why I was only showing the software. There was nothing to. I can't get a camera over where that's sitting right now. So I will now bring up, as soon as the switcher reconnects, I can get the. Come on, I can get the thing to do what I want. There we go. So now I've got the Keylab back up. So I can play. Now, this is supposedly all NKS compatible, so I should be able to grab a knob here and turn, but you see that it doesn't. So, you know, let's put it in analog mode. Let me do the correct mode. Okay. So here I've got control, but you see they jump. You know, it's boom all the way around. So if we look at FXA here, see if I can find the control for that here, because they don't map straight. There you go. You saw that one jump. And I'm going to run out of ones to twiddle here, but, you know, delay jumps, reverb jumps. Yeah, and so it's jerky too. But if I could grab them from here, they're smoother on the. I'm controlling with the Control S, but you see how they're jerky. Now, if I go to. This could cause Ableton to crash again. This is where it gets a little hinky. If I drop this down and I tell it to go to the Control S, it seemed to work. They're still jerky. So you can see there's something going on in the way that Ableton Live 12 is interpreting encoders, continuous encoders on continuous encoders, and I don't know if that happens on the Mac or not. I don't know about anybody who's got these particular devices on a Mac, or I'm sure that with the push, the continuous encoders work flawlessly. So, you know, that's. So yes, I'm still frustrated, but you know, I'm going to work through the process. I hopefully will, you know, be able to get past it, and you know, it's going to be a thing. It's fine. It'll be fine. Damn it, as we say here in the Mortensen Mansion, Westminster. So now this is going to do it for me. Time to send me your controller for testing. You know, it's not out of the question. I could, because so here's the other thing. The same thing happens with the Mini Lab, the little Mini Lab Mark II. Exactly the same thing happens with this guy. This I could ship up to you, and see if you run into similar issues, because this will map directly into Analog Lab as well. A road trip, sure. You come to me. You got to bring your well. You could bring your MacBook with you. Well, let's talk about that offline. Maybe we can do something. I will be home July 4th. I'm not going anywhere. What I don't have here, unlike at your place, Luke, I don't have a spare bedroom. So that might be the stumbling block there. But we can talk about this offline. Maybe I'll give you a call and we'll see what transpires. So anyway, that's going to do it for me for tonight. We got plenty of hotels well, we got 3 hotels in Westminster, which is plenty. So we will chat, and we could, there's fun stuff to do here in town. We got a nice fireworks display for the 4th in town. Right up, it's just a short walk over the hill. So maybe we can get together and have a good time for the holiday. But like I said, that's going to do it for me for tonight. I'm tired. It's been a long few days, and so yeah, I'm gonna fade away and go to bed, and I will leave you again with the song 23rd Winter, number 14.